All right, so flags aren't working for me today, and they have chosen these colors. I think I'm going to stick with it because the players chose the colors, but it does bother me based on where these guys are from. But we're going to continue on anyways. We've got a round of 16 best of 7 here between Villese, who's in the red. He's gone for the Italians here, and then we've got Hera, the favorite, who's gone for the Poles in the blue. And this is a very familiar pick for me, actually. Hera, he went for the Poles in Titans League 3 on this map, and it was one of the strategies that he had kind of saved up for later on in that tournament, for those that remember it. So the idea here for Hera is he's going to want to get some walls down, and he's going to want those safe farms around the full works here. Now, Spiral was also in Titans League, so I mean, lots of Titans League references here, but you remember there's two aspects of, or there's an aspect of this map which can differ with different generations. Guys, Hera's about to get housed really badly. Where's everyone that said this is going to be an easy 4-0? Hera forgot to build a house. So he's now housed. And he has to get loom. That's a little sloppy. But this generation has brought the berries and the deer closer to the players. And the water area further. So while right now Hera hasn't scouted the water, if he knows the map, he should know that if the berries are here, the water is going to be more towards the sides. And we now have a pause. And hoping there's no hotkey issues. They did have to go back to a previous patch, but it shouldn't have changed any hotkeys. Just another series with Hera, where there's going to be a sorry go and a pause from him. Or hopefully, you know, no issues here for both players. So, all right, so Italians, kind of awkward for this map, actually. I feel like, oh, Villese paused. Oh, how dare I? I'm the worst. I feel like Italians are good because of the water aspect, and they are very nice with it going up to the next stage a bit cheaper. So all those things are awesome, but I do feel like unit-wise, they don't really like scream excitement for me long-term. Genoese crossbowman could be insanely strong here, though. We got 2 Vills from Villese going out to Doc. He does this because with 1 Vill, that Vill could be exposed and sniped. And Hera actually has loom already, so he just brought the 1 Vill. So the villagers shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I mean, cheaper fishing ships, it's cheaper to get to the next stage, and that alone might be why the Italians feel quite smooth. Hera's certainly going to work towards those walls, but that does mean he might work away from other areas of the map that are important, like the water. So, but again, Villese should know. He should understand the same things that if he's docked this side, Hera's probably docking this side, so he's out here looking for this right now. And I would say that the big thing here is how, like, what type of shape is Villese going to be in? If you've followed Villese's career, he quickly climbed into people's top 5, maybe even, if not top 5, top 10 for a bit there. But you know, he is living life. He's not full-time Age of Empires as he was during the COVID years. And so his results have dipped a little bit compared to what we'd seen from him in the past. But I've always seen him as a pretty consistent player. Like, even in his best days, I never felt like he had... I felt what made him good was his consistency. And if he can bring consistency here against Hera, who's also a very consistent player, and Hera's not expecting things, you could see this working out for him today. So Hera's the favorite. Hera's full-time Age of Empires. Hera's got a crazy streak of tournament wins behind him. But I will say, there's one thing about Hera. Can be a bit greedy. Can assume some things sometimes, but look at that. He actually... I don't know if he was looking for the dock or if he was looking for the third fish. But I'm going to give him credit there that he was looking for that, knowing that could happen. Because I was just saying, you know, little greedy, not scouting what his opponent's going to do, but he knows now that there's going to be some fires coming. It's a good heads-up play there from Hera, who will probably want to... He won't want to give up the fish too early. And quick walls there from him, but it doesn't really do enough. He is poles, so the villager will regenerate. Not enough to keep the Vill alive. Hera quick wall. Villese should know it's coming. And this villager should be dead. Nice play there from Villese. Really nice start. So he kills the Vill. He'll get the scout away, and he's got the fire galleys out. Immediate pressure from him, and he's completely fine with his fishing ships back at home. So this is the perfect start, I would say, for Villese. He doesn't need to necessarily take the best of engagements here on water. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't take many losses on land now. But remember, Hera's whole strat is kind of based around walling up and farms later on. But what he doesn't have now is he doesn't have a villager here to repair any longer. So he does lose some HP on his fishing ships, and is kind of okay accepting that. And now he's going to bring his scout over, hoping to kill these vills. But he'll see it's 2 vills. But if he brings the next scout there right away, he could kill those villagers. I think Poles, like, the only other time I've seen Poles on this map, Hera dominated. I think it was Poles Lithuanians, but he played really well. And I think the other thing that you need to do as a player is, even if, like, I disagreed with the Poles pick and felt like Poles was weak in some way, you have to stick to what you're comfortable with. And that is why I think Hera picked the Poles here. But this could not be a worse start for Hera. Not only does he lose the fishing ships right away, but he's also... He invested into trying to defend them. But Villese forgot about these 2 vills. And Hera's going to kill those 2 villagers. So that's just one aspect of this for Villese, which went awry. Kind of felt weird saying that word, but I think that's the word to use. It's just everything else has been perfect. And now Hera's like, okay, I don't have to focus about fish anymore. I just wall my base, and I'm poles, and I farm around the full work. And this is where resources collected should start to climb. And now Villese has to defend from this. We've got 4 spears out in the map for Villese. Looks like the other spear's still around the dock. I don't know if these 4 fishing ships are working that efficiently right now anyway, so Hera should be feeling pretty comfortable. Should also recognize that there could be fish added on this side. But I don't think Hera can do much about that unless he's using his scouts instead. Ooh, sees the Vill. Ugh. Oh, God. It feels so awkward to have to commit there. But Hera kills another Vill. Strode, I think Byzantines are on the ban list. We can look at the draft afterwards, but I'm pretty sure they are. Okay, so long term, army comp-wise, Poles are probably going to stay on knights. Italians can do so as well, but they don't have any bonuses for the knights. So I would say that maybe we're going to see Villese stick more with infantry and archer style. What you need to look for, though, is the additional stones and golds, which Villese hasn't scouted now. There's a stone and gold here. There's going to be the stone and gold here. Now, because this map isn't new, like this map has been played enough. Both these guys played in, I think, multiple tournaments that have had this map. I think it should be understood that those resources are out there. So the fact they haven't scouted them yet isn't that big of a concern for me. I do remember, like, you know, early on. That's honestly what really excites me about maps. If you haven't picked up on that from, like, Hidden Cup and whatnot. But I like maps with lots of options. And I like to watch that meta form over time. But it's really hard to have new maps all the time. And obviously, once you've got good ones, you gotta stick with them. Hera still hasn't clicked up, but he has not been broken, and it's unlikely he will be broken by the faster castle age of his opponent. And like the 9 fishing ships for Villese, those are the positives for him. That could all, in theory, get sniped by scouts or knights on this map. I would say, if you're gonna fish trap, you need to fish trap in an area where you cannot be attacked by the scouts. So like fish trapping here or fish trapping anywhere on this side of the dock on the left would be a mistake in my opinion. But guys, like, think about how Villese has played this. He'll be 2 minutes faster to castle age. He's gonna have 2 stables, so we could make some knights from that to pressure Hera. And Hera's up, and Hera has the type of game that he wants. But, I mean, this... I mean, this is... He has probably made more farm jokes about me than any other pro player. And this is simply unacceptable. Delete it! What are we doing? Hera's going to head to stone here. And, oh, we got a forward from Villese. Whoa. Okay, so I saw the villagers leaving. And I thought they'd maybe focus on the berries. And I think Hera wants to know, what is Villese doing right now? He actually didn't see any of the stables. So now he sees double stable. We'll see the knights. I wonder if Hera will sense that there could be some pressure on the front. You know, the deer are actually going to move. Which I feel like I mentioned so many times and it never plays a role, but players should check for those things and they will do that. I'm not sure if I like Villese's opening against light cap play from Hera. Like, there's only 2 spears. I think Hera will be comfortable to use, like, if he notices this, to clear up any siege. It's just, he's going to have to match the knight numbers in some way. And Hera makes it to Castle Age. Knows it's double stable, so he's going to go double monastery and wants to focus on that eco. Oof. So Hera has not seen this yet. He still doesn't know there's a forward. I'm sure he has an idea, but he's actually just patrolling around with his light cav trying to deny resources. And now the pressure's coming in, and this TC is denied. Nice start here for Villese. Still all in, 1 TC. Could always try and build up that second TC somewhere. But it's risky if he leaves his base. It looks like he's going to take the risk. It's interesting. The individual, I won't name names, who said easy 4-0 for Hera, suddenly has gone from very chatty to very quiet in my chat here. But probably very focused on the action, as everyone is right now. Again, my objection was the word easy. That was my objection. Villese is playing like an animal right now. He's playing insane. Mixed in more spears, has plenty of knights. Stable for Hera will likely go down here. And Hera's base wide open now. He has to be really careful. Can't really put a stop to this push at the moment. He's trying, but Villese always seems to be prepared. And Hera's monk goes down. And this TC going up as well for Villese on that gold side so we can continue to push. Because Hera might be thinking that my opponent can't take gold like I can. And Hera's going to run over here to try and TC the berries. But I think he just doesn't know about the gold. He has to find out about that gold. And if he finds out about the gold, he should be good. Hera's monk dodging, but not converting then. And Hera's monk doesn't get the conversion. And Hera's eco on the right side is wide open. Now, you never want to leave your monks and your siege with your knights in these situations. But honestly, if he were to do it, it might be worth it. He just doesn't know that Hera has all those villas available over there. Man, finally a conversion comes in there. And Hera's still alive. He converts a couple knights. He actually saves his monks as well, which is huge for him. This is still awkward. But Villese, hasn't broken him yet. Hera might need to send these villagers to the corner and chop wood if he even knows what's over there. This TC spot from Hera is not great. That's going to make life awkward. The fact he's had to abandon the full works is awkward. The fact that he's running with 12 villagers is also awkward. And Villese has come to play here, guys. Optimal TC positions. Fishing ships aren't on fish traps. That's something he'll need to focus on. Still hasn't broken Hera. That's the thing. He'll bend, but he will not break. And, if he just has a moment to chill with the poles, he could just add so many farms that he's right back in the game. And Hera probably garrison the monks inside the TC, so it's unlikely any of these monks are going to go down. That monk does go down, though. And Villese is actually just chilling underneath the town center. It is crazy, though, right? Like, Villese has sent so much aggression and has killed so much, and yet you look at the populations, and it's even. Hera, 19 seconds of TC idle time, even though he's taken all this damage. Just spamming bills like a madman. So, the problem now for Villese is he's not really pushing anymore, and this gets really tricky, because if he ever moves in with knights, Hera has monks around. So then he thinks, okay, maybe I've got to go light cav. But we're probably going to see him chill for a moment and do some other things. Adding eco on the sides will be important for him. Hera's not on stone anymore. Could always shift to this stone. And Villese is on stone at the moment. And Villese might want the stone for castles. Hera's monks exposed. Villese. Dang, dude, he's playing amazing here. He also has reacted to this attack, too. So he loses a Vil, but he kills the 2 monks. Hera wants to spam Lycav. But he hasn't really been able to threaten Villese all that much. Villese's just got to keep this up, man. You just got to be so consistent, so tricky. You make one mistake, like you get housed right now. He's actually very badly housed. And then suddenly you fall behind. Hera's Lycav, dive for monks. Will kill most of the monks here. Sacrifices most of his Lycav to do so, though. Now, Villese's got more Lycav than Hera. These 2 Lycav looking for some damage somewhere. Random villager from Villese with the house inside Hera's base. That's actually the villager that prevented him from being housed for much longer as well. Because I couldn't see where the house was built. He's just going to house around the berries for the time being. Knights are down here. Hera has to react to that. I think that's what this game needs to turn into right now for your Villese. Like, you have this main area, which Hera is always going to be threatened by. I think if you're able to just switch sides against Hera and keep him busy, that's the way you end up winning this game. But it's so tricky, right? Because Poles bring in so much food from their farms, and Hera's got the stables as well, and it feels like it's going to get to a point where Hera could actually just outproduce. Again, there's just no bonuses involved for going Knights with the Italians. That was the thing we mentioned at the start. Whereas the Poles have, like, all their bonuses are centered around this type of game. Villese is going to get some upgrades now, and he's got some Lycav on this side, as he's got some Knights over on this side. Hera's going to spread his wings and fly, though, go for the raids. Hera will occasionally swoop in to try and kill some monks or some villagers, but Hera's not looking here. And a couple more vills go down. Man, more upgrades would be so helpful here for Villese. All these villagers that were over here, such a big deal. Like, Hera could have lost 15 vills. Villese never dove for those vills because he didn't know they were there. And now we're looking at, what, 90 villagers against 90 villagers, and a game that could not be closer. Resources collected slightly higher for Hera. And Villese just must be sick of these freaking monks, man. But it's just getting better and better for Hera. Like, this is all worth it for him. Villese is losing so many knights just trying to kill these monks. Hera's up to 13 knights against the 8 knights from Villese. And now I think you just got to be thinking, maybe you need a castle now, right? Like, if you could get a castle now and start to make Genoese, maybe you force Hera to have to make something else. But it is a simplified game plan to spam farms and spam knights. It's kind of like, you know, I always say Franks are playing the game on easy mode. I would agree that Poles are almost the same. Now, that's map dependent, and there's lots of situations at play, but it's just like, you know, you don't think too much. You just repeat the same steps, and, you know, Franks are really good at that, and Poles are really good at that as well. Villese tried to be aggressive. He killed 14 vills, but he still finds himself behind in vills. And, I mean, Polish eco is just nuts, man. You get gold when you mine stone. You get 10% of your farm's food eco when you build farms around the full works. And Hera, I mean, this is crazy. They're both up to Imp, but Hera's got 16 knights, and he's on the way to Imp. Crazy. This is what Villese needs more of. Hera's kind of wasting some time using the knights to clear up the buildings here. This is good for Villese. Still producing knights, but he does have a castle on the left side. The problem with going Genoese is that you don't really need multiple castles. But, you know, if you start here, this protects this area. Then maybe you need a castle towards the middle. Then maybe you need a castle towards the right. You get like 3 or 4 castles. Then Hera might need to switch into something other than Cav here. Villese trying his best to escape, and Hera trapped him for a second. And a couple of villagers over here from Hera have been spotted. And I think they're both going to try and castle here. Hera's still chasing these knights. Hera's still attacking these houses. And Villese has Bodkin for the Genoese, bringing knights and Genoese over, and I think he wants a castle here. So Hera just needs... I would say that Hera needs to pick his spots. Like, Genoese crossbowmen are terrifying, but if you raid this area, or you raid this area, then the Genoese crossbow player really struggles. What you can't have is a situation where... And this castle, honestly, might not go up. This is crazy castle. I'm so surprised he's building this. Like, what you can't have is a situation where you are running right into the Genoese crossbow with knights. So Hera's going to have 2 castles here. This protects him. He'll probably use these castles for trebs. But if he is pushed in this area, like if Villese is bringing siege, Hera will have to respond. And he really just needs to find the right side. He needs to go through the middle, I would say, to find some success. What a game for Villese. Look at him run over here, take that risk for the stone too. Like, he's really going to be controlling a lot of stone here. I didn't think this castle would go up because Hera had 20 knights. And there was 3 Genoese crossbowmen and 3 knights, but Hera kind of spread out. There's just not enough castles to protect yourself from these knights. There's just too many knights. There's just too much going on. There's just going to be too many holes, too many gaps to find. This is an example of it, right? Villese drops the house and will run away. But the Genoese crossbowmen are slow, and they're going to have to chase. Well, at the same time, you're going to have to try and mount some type of a push. I think... Oh, wow, monastery in defense. I think what Hera's going to try here is he uses his castles as defense, and he will go for bombard cannons to snipe any trebs that Villese has. The forward castle surprises me. I think the forward castle for trebs, when I feel the win condition is really for Genoese crossbowman numbers, it kind of gives Hera an opportunity to take down one of your castles. But, I mean, he still has the stone. He still could castle the other side. There's still, some exposed areas through the middle, but he's got some Genoese crossbowmen around, so... Silk Road comes in. No, he got the wrong tech. No, that's the trade unique tech. No. Oh, he meant to get Villese, which would give him armor. Well, now his trade carts are cheaper. That's nice. Maybe he'll misclick a trade cart later on. It's 500 food and 200 gold. Is it really that expensive? Yikes. And he can't get elite Genoese crossbow yet because he doesn't have the resources. Well, misclick. But I think maybe he could still win the game. I don't know. The problem is, Arbalest beats Genoese crossbow. And Hera's eco is just unbelievable here. I think just Arbalest, Hussar, and the raids are going to pick Villese apart. And the Arbalest and whatever siege Hera chooses to use here will just push this all right back. Like, Hera just hasn't been pressured. And it's been really tough for Villese to find enough damage. Now he goes, no, now he knows. Okay, well, if you know, you have to make a trade cart. Make it worth it, man. Yeah, it's good that he ended up... it's good that he ended up realizing, but also that recognition is kind of painful. Yeah, so Poles get 10%... They get gold for mining stone. They have Arbalest. They have bombard cannon. They have crazy hussars. The Civ is stacked, man. And Hera's played it perfectly. He bent, but he was never broken. Knew that if he ever had time to breathe, that his resources would fly. He's collected 8,000 more resources. It's not like he's been ahead in Villes with insane amounts. He is at 157 versus 144 right now. Hera getting Lekatik. All the text for this civilization I cannot pronounce. I apologize. But he's getting the trample damage tech now for the cav, and he's getting winged hussar. I think you just got to be a little patient here if you're Hera. Wait till you get your bombard mass, and then you can push this castle. It's just so tough to get the Genoese together. You need the castles to defend from you. To defend from raids. So you need them to be split up. But splitting up castles is kind of the opposite of what you want when you need to mass a unique unit. You can see the Hussars even killing the Genoese there as Villese backs away. Villese needs a big fight somewhere because Hera's just using all of his resources to get every tech he can think of right now. Hoardings and Blast Furnace. Looked really rough for Hera early Castle Age. And I love this. I talked about this in the Andy series as well. You see how Hera treats a Hussar? He treats it as a throwaway unit. And he actually ends up killing a Treb there, which is insane. But, like, if you're at 200 pop and you've got the food, just toss those bad boys anywhere. Like, you don't really need to think about it too much. You're going to at least force reactions from your opponent. And if the unit dies, if it's a bad fight, then you just make more, right? Here, Hera has a Treb. He has the Arbs. You can tell Villese is distracted from the raids. And now Villese needs to react here. It really felt like this castle here is what really made life awkward for Villese, because it was an area he wanted to push from when he needed defense elsewhere. But still Villese has faith in his comp. Feels like with elite Genoese crossbow, if he can afford that, this could be worth it for him. Genoese crossbow, even if they're not elite, still do a lot of damage against the Hussars. Bombard cannons get brought forward here. Hera will see this. He's super close to taking out this castle right now. And I think it will fall here. Hera's Hussars on the front are dying. And more Hussars are going to arrive. His stables are nearby. Castle goes down, and the GG's called. Yeah, Villese, even though his pop's to 160, just knows he's going to be picked apart here. And so I think, you know, obviously Hera's an insane player, but I really like how Hera views this map. He knows it's an expansive, booming map. He knows he needs to get TCs in different areas. And he knows that with the polls, you're going to have that time, you're going to have that space. And it was just such a good job from Hera to defend. And against the best, you have to make sure that you do not give them an opportunity to survive. Now, key of the game, in my opinion, was this moment right here. Hera does not have the army to defend this. He does not. This is a winning game for Villese if he moves here and kills these vills. If he kills 13 vills, it's GG. Right? Hera cannot come back from that. Hera does not have the monks yet to convert these knights, but he just didn't know about the wood line. He had no clue. And also, he was trying to push this area, and so you feel very uncomfortable continuing a push if you leave the hill. So I really think if he knew that wood line was there, if he doesn't continue to engage here and he just kills those vills, I don't think it's recoverable for Hera. Villese had a lead at this stage, but then Hera was kind of just in overdrive. Like, the second Hera had stables up and was getting any type of counter damage in against Villese, it felt over. I find this is a real issue with the Genoese. I think recently the devs either, like maybe in one of the pup builds or maybe on forums, I'm confusing things, but I think there's been conversation about massing Genoese faster or something, like some type of balance change. But I don't actually think it's how fast the unit masses. I think it's just a core issue of the unit. Yes, it counters Cav, but on a map like this, where there's so many different areas to protect, it's just not great for unique units in general. The castles are spread out too far. So Hera takes game number 1. I would not say it was easy. TJ. But he certainly, mid-Castle Age onwards, made it look easy. 65,000 resources collected versus 52K. And obviously that just changed once the pressure stopped coming in. All right, good old Black Forest. Well, I said you have to take Hera out of his comfort zone. And so Black Forest could be that. Map is played on Explored, so the players will immediately be able to survey the map and know that this is the choke point that separates the two. Villese chooses to come forward early with his scout and also chooses to come forward with 2 villagers to wall up the choke, while Hera does not seem interested at all in walling that up. And so what I want to see, so badly is a sneak villager. We're not going to see it because people are too good. They're going to scout it. But Villese, send a villager through. Give the people what they want. Give me what I want. Oh, God. This wasn't what I wanted, but this is funny. Hera is being mauled by a boar, which he shot, but there's also some bears over here. And they should be fine. Blocking it. This is fine. This is fine. The only risk is if he accidentally misfires because of the bears. But yeah. High-level players should have no issues there. Wow, so Villese walls up, and then he goes for a mining camp. I mean, the villagers needed a job out there, but very interesting. So there's no ponds on this version of Black Forest. There are extra boars. I think they're always protected by bears, though, which is what we just saw there. Resources should be fairly balanced. There's 3 relics per side. There's 4 golds on each side. But Vietnamese have an insane late game. Britons also have an insane late game. Actually, guys, the last time that I saw this matchup on this map was Warlords 2, and I think it was Freaking Andy versus Jordan. Does anyone remember that? I think it was Freaking Andy versus Jordan. It went on for like 3 hours. And I think Jordan said something like, I forget what Jordan's quote was, but it was like, I've never played Black Forest again, or I don't see how people like this, or something like that. Yeah, it was wild. So we might be in for a long one here. I forget who won that game. What was really cool about that? Wait, did they change the name? The sign is different? What? But the sign was literally the only reason I liked this map. The fact that it had a sign. Well, now it says Market Smith. I guess that's pretty cool. Anyways, it said Austria, Germany on the sign, and it was pointing, the Austrian sign was pointing to the German, and the German side was pointing to the Austrian, and I just remember it was very disappointing. But yeah, I didn't know there were different signs in the game. Nice. Well, you got to build your market here and your blacksmith here, and then it's perfect, Villese. We'll see what happens. Spoilers, they're going to build a market and a blacksmith. Villese bringing in the extra boars. This looks like Fast Castle longbows, baby. Does Hera know about the walls? Bro, that is just so stupid. Like, I'm not calling Hera stupid. Just like the fact that he hasn't even looked and he doesn't even seem to be preoccupied on if his opponent had snuck a Vill or done anything. He just assumes. They're too focused, bringing in the boars and the bears. You have the luxury of adapting really well. You don't have to scout and play the game as we mortals would do. I guess the main difference here is Hera has used his villagers to bring in the boars, and Villese has used his scout to bring in the boars. But yes, I agree. Villese would probably never sneak. Villese is very risk-averse, and players who are risk-averse are not going to sneak in most cases. But what Hera doesn't know is that his opponent's on stone. Okay, so I'm going to guess that 55% of you guys know this, but tell me how long you've been watching the game, viewers. Because I'm going to tell you something that would completely change players' approaches on, if 1v1 Black Forest was a thing prior to the Definitive Edition. Okay, we've got 7 to 8 years, we've got 2 years, 4 years, 7 years, 50 hours. Wow, okay. All right. So, I actually forget if this was still a thing in the initial release of DE in 2019, or if it, and then it was removed, or if it was removed with DE, like upon release. But anyways, at one point, so basically for a long time, because Age of Empires has been out for 99, you could scan, all right? So what that would entail is you take a building, right? So let's say you want to build a house. If you try and build a house over the stone wall, the stone piece, it would be red, right? So it would not, the game does not allow you to build there because they're stone, right? Well, you also can't build over enemy villagers or enemy buildings. So for years, for a very long time, like I'm saying, for as long as this game's been around pretty much, what people would do in this situation is they'd be like, oh, is he on stone? Let's go try and build a house there. And if you couldn't build there, you would know he was on that resource. Like, and it gets even worse, okay? What people would do beyond that is they would scan to know if armies are there. So if you go back to like Viper's early videos, like 2012 or something, you'll see him. He'll be sitting in his base and just chilling. And then he'll get like a scan and he'll scan the darkness and be like, oh, his army's moving this way, right? Now, I say Viper. Viper's obviously been around a really long time, but everyone did it. Everyone did it. And the worst part for me is that you could know if someone snuck Villes on Black Forest because you could just like go over to this area and you could just scan and be like, oh, he must have buildings there. So yeah, they removed that at some point, which is a really good thing to remove. It's pretty crazy to me that that was in the game for so long, but it was also like kind of interesting because from a caster's perspective, I could know if a player scanned it. Just because you kind of got used to that being how the game was played, right? Hera goes TC number 2. He goes TC number 3. He goes TC number 4. He goes wood upgrade, farm upgrade. Crazy boom here. Then we've got TC number 2 and TC number 3 here for Villese. But more TC does not equal better TC because a castle's going to come up here for Villese. So I like the approach from both players. I think for Hera, obviously he's going to be able to afford this. He had all those boars. He's Vietnamese. Cheaper eco upgrades. Tons of food. This is exactly how you want to approach it. But the second a castle starts to come down, this situation could change. And he's basically invested everything into the eco right now. And a castle can make longbows. It could make life difficult for Hera. So it's important that Villese does that soon here, I would say, based on what we see. Oh, yo, the market. No, the smith is here and the market. That's interesting, though. I didn't know there were different signs. It just says sign. Ooh. So Hera cannot see the castle because Villese is building it further back. I like that decision from Villese. I'm a bit torn on it because if you build the castle in the choke point, you control more of the map. But if you start to build it, then Hera has a lot of time to realize what you're doing. So Hera is just going to assume that Villese is simply just booming like him. And he's not going to expect, especially seeing this villager walling, that there's going to be longbows. Now, Vietnamese, would you guys consider them a counter to Britons? I think on open maps, yes. On closed maps, it gets a bit trickier because I think the Briton Trebs can play more of a role. But I think they're pretty close to a counter pick because of the amazing late game and the amazing counter to archers. Britons, they're like one of the best archer civs, but Vietnamese counter that. Now, if Villese doesn't push, I don't like this at all. If Villese doesn't make any longbows, I'm kind of thinking, why even go to stone in the first place? And why not just go 4 or 5 TCs? But he is going to make some longbows here. Vietnamese don't get siege ram. They don't get siege onager. They do get bombard cannon. Hera still just booming away. Villese has done a good job to keep the pace with him, though. The main thing here, though, is that Villese doesn't have... and I'm forgetting text. Horse collar and... what is wrong with me? I'm away for a week and a half. I forget this tech now. Horse collar and the heavy plow. I actually had to think the plow one. Sorry. My bad. Don't worry, I know crop rotation exists. If we get crop rotation, I'll know. Oh, Villese, come on, dude. You gotta push. He made 2 longbows and he just stopped. That's a weird move to me. I would like to see Hera build outposts here. I feel like I understand he's booming, but I feel like an outpost for vision to see what's beyond the walls could be really nice. The 2 longbows, like basically you've had... At a certain point, he had a 5th of his economy on stone. Maybe a 6th or 7th, I don't know. But he had vills on stone. He then used the villager time to build the castle. Has the castle. And now there's no reward for it, because he's just chilling here. But there must be some master plan. If you look at the balance, though, Hera is ahead with food and wood because of that choice from Villese. I mean, Hera doesn't even have freaking loom! Longbows with no upgrades could at least make him do something. Like, force some type of reaction. Because basically, the longer Hera just straight booms without being hit, the better it is for him. So, I don't know. Just very weird to me. I do think that there are some maps that can kind of make you a bit stuck in the mud mentally. Like, Black Forest may be one of those. But this was Villese's home map choice. So he did feel as though this would give him a good shot against Hera. He's clicked up. Okay, so now this gets interesting. So now I'm starting to believe a bit more. He could still, because Hera never walled. He could still run out. He could bring longbows. Hera's going to run right into the castle. Okay, so now Hera knows longbows are coming. Hera's going to need to remember loom. There it is. Hera's been so crazy greedy here, and he's going to go for a barrack so he can go for skirms probably. Now, if Villese gets a castle right here, right? If he can walk forward now and drop a castle here, I think Hera has problems. Trebs are going to be all over his eco if that's the case. We do have fletching coming in. We do have loom coming in. I think Villese needs to bring the vills. Now, Hera's clicked up, and he's clicked up in the back TC, which is intentional. If you weren't thinking about it, it would always be the starting TC. So he understands that this could be for a treb push, which is really smart. And then obviously he knows it's going to be longbows, so he's going to go for skirms. Yeah, this is a lower eco, fast treb style push here from Villese. But he's just so far behind in eco right now. And Hera's got an incredible civilization to counter the units that are coming his way. The Hera does have this stone, but for now, these 2 stones are going to be denied. Trebs should probably prioritize the TCs. Hera's going to lose quite a bit of his food eco. The thing is, Hera won't be able to easily justify engaging anywhere near the castle. And bombard cannons, while, you know, Vietnamese have them available, bombard cannons can be picked off by the longbows. If the longbows get fully upgraded, that's going to be tough for Villese. I would have almost liked to have seen like a 4th TC for Villese while he was on the way up, so we could catch up a bit more in vills. But this is still a ton of pressure, and this takes a lot of focus. He needs a treb. He needs a treb. There's the treb. Castle in the back for Hera. Upgrades flying in for skirms. This is going to get very cramped here. Hera cannot afford to lose castles. Honestly, might have gold issues here in a moment. 3 longbows get sniped just like that, though. Hera will take that. And there's the first treb. It feels like too little, too late. It feels like, I mean, just think of the confidence from Hera. Hera didn't wall at all. He had no loom. He just sat there. He's like, come on, send me something. And Villese eventually did. But Hera had so much time to boom and to breathe. Hera just needs enough gold for siege, which he's going to have. He has Imperial Skirm, which means longbow's just not an option now. I think with Imp Skirm and armor, you could just run underneath the castle fire as well. Onager probably the next best thing Villese could do from here. He can't undo what's already been done, right? You can't go back. You're holding the map control. Onager could flatten a group of skirms, and then suddenly there could be problems for Hera here. At this level, you will see players use archers a lot against Onagers, whereas the majority of people watching would never dare. Imp Skirm is a little stronger against Onager than standard Skirm, but it's a lot more risky. So Hera's probably going to need to rely more so on the bomber cannons than anything. 120 Vils for Hera. A lot of his eco's getting trebbed down. Villese kind of chilling here. He has not overextended. He knows exactly what he's up against here. He doesn't want to give Hera an opportunity for any free kills. There's Onager. Ooh, man. Do we see Warwolf? I think we're going to see Warwolf for Villese. Which, in some ways, is good, but in other ways could be kind of bad. I'll explain what I mean. A lot of arena players seem to think that Warwolf is actually bad if you're trying to go for trebs against bomber cannons. Because Warwolf increases the accuracy to 100%. And so there's no variance in the shots. It'll be a lot easier for Hera to predict. Uh-oh. It basically becomes a lot easier for Hera to predict where the treb shots are going to go if Warwolf is in. It's such a weird thing. Because you think a tech like that would just always be good for you. God, look at how much Hera has already. It's just like, it's just no time for Villese here. Like, he has Warwolf in queue, but he simply does not have the time. He does not have the answer to this. Longbows arrive forward. Hera in a very different way from the first game. Just kind of chilled, sat back. And now he's in his comfort zone, using the bombard cannons there against the Onager. Yeah, this everything's falling flat here. And there's just, oh! Disaster for Villese! I was going to say this can't even get worse. Oh, man. And yeah, Hera never made a wall. And he wins the game number 2. And when you think of the series, this is the type of map that Villese would have needed to win, right? This is one of those that he drafted thinking that this could be a weak point for Hera. The thing that's weird to me, guys, the same exact push that Villese did here, the same exact push could have been accomplished if he didn't go to stone when he did. He could have had the proper imp timing. He could have had the castle into a couple longbows and then the forward castle. He could have done that and actually had better economy. But because he went to stone with as many vills as he did and like built the castle and invested all of that, he was always going to be behind an eco, and then he didn't push. Like, I get it, right? What Hera did, he made it look very easy. And I think a lot of you guys are going to say to me, well, Hera probably beats this anyways with his boom. Sure, I get it. I understand why you'd say that. But you cannot invest into a castle at this point in the game and then sit there for 10 minutes and not pressure with it at all. It just felt very indecisive from Villese. And Hera, he didn't even have to, it doesn't feel like he even respected any type of aggression. It didn't feel like he was counting on that coming at all. Realistically, it didn't. Realistically, the pressure didn't really come in at all, even though it felt like it was going to be pressure. So that one was just weird to me. Hera wins. Hera up 2-0 here. And just with how the games have looked, looks like it could be the sweep that many people are predicting. Super clean, super easy. But again, I have to feel like Villese made it easy for Hera to boom because he went for an attack build and just switched out of it at one point. I will say Hera's civ choice of Vietnamese is really good here, though. Like, I think they're really underrated on open maps as is, but on closed maps, they're also just insane. I think where they could have bad matchups is like maybe against civs like Bohemians or Turks with like really good bombard cannons. But beyond that, Vietnamese don't really have a weakness. All right, so we're catching up to live time, and this is not a map that is easy to follow. So pay attention. We've got Alpine here. We've got Persians against Romans. We do have a Finnish player playing as Persians. This could actually be a really good TC drop map. Just saying. I don't think Villese would do it, but I know other Finnish players like Max or Rubenstock might do it. There's 8 boars on this map, on this little ring of trees. And what you're always hoping for is that you get more boars than your opponent. Hera is going to make a dash over here to try and snag that boar. And Vilese's horse is kind of out of position at the moment. You can tell right here he wanted to try and block there. But if he looks, he's going to see that boar moving. Hera's actually brought his horse over to escort the Vil. Things have already gone really well for Hera today. And as long as he stops, as long as he's patient here, he's going to get a boar. So it would be potentially 5 for Hera. He's going to weaken these, finish them off with the TC. Weaken that, finish it off. And oh my god, Villese is going to TC drop. We have a TC drop. It has not been a good day for Villese. But it has been a great day for us, and it will only get better here, win or lose, for Villese. He is going to TC drop Hera. He says, you steal my boar, I take your home. Okay. Dude, Hera's got to be like, you're kidding me, dude. Come on. Don't do this crap to me. All right, so the starting TC has been deleted. Persian town centers. Double the HP of your standard town center. The goal here for him is to garrison 10 Vils and shoot Hera's TC down. Usually the advice against this strategy is you do not try and repair at all. But I think Hera needs to keep his TC up till he's in feudal. So there will need to be some level of repairing here. Now this is smart from Villese because what he's doing is he's going to Vil rush while he doesn't have Loom yet. Oh god, don't throw away a Vil, dude. Don't. Villese, don't lose a Vil. Oh my god. Okay, well that's not ideal. Anyways, you always want 10 in the TC for max arrow fire, and then you villager rush with the rest. That's going to be the play. And if you disrupt the wood, then Hera can't keep the TC up. It's interesting, Hera's not going to feudal. He's going to stay in Dark Age. I actually really like that approach. Because if you try and go feudal, you'll fall behind in Vils. And he's also like, you want to Vil war me, bro? All right, because I have way more Vils than you. And I have a hill. Oh, man. So, usually, with a successful TC drop, when the opponent's TC goes down, you Vil rush. Hera's just letting the TC go down. He's going to leave. The thing is, Villese doesn't have that many Vils. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh. That was way too close. Oh, that was way too close. He had it calculated, though, guys. I have no doubt. All right, Hera's just going to TC over here. Honestly, a pretty good TC spot, because it's really difficult for Villese to find a spot where he could do what he just did again. But it doesn't really seem like he's planning on Vil rushing. He is just going to live here now. Oh, there's another boar! Yo, and Hera's going to get it! Oh, that's... Man, that boar could have helped Villese so much. Because he's kind of stranded here right now. Oh, man, Vilese's scouting really let him down. He lost one of his boars. This boar he never found. I think it might be like 5... It might be 6 boars to 2, honestly. 6 boars for Hera this game, and now he's on the way to feudal. Villese will be there too. What I would like to see from Hera, though, is archers, and he's got the right approach. The reason you go archers here is because this area can be walled in to protect from scouts, but walls can't protect from archers, and there's no TC around for these villagers to run to. So basically, this becomes your target, I would say. And Villese is up to feudal as well, so he'll be 30 seconds behind. Pretty impressive, honestly. Like, considering, you know, he lost 2 Vils, he hasn't had the boars. This build from Villese is insane. Also, I actually think it's worth it to attack Dark Age houses because they go down so quickly. But Hera hasn't really been troubled. Hera's Romans didn't mention that. But now you know. He's honestly, he might be tempted to go fast castle here, Hera. I don't know. Like, I could also see Hera just investing into feudal age eco upgrades and adding a few archers and adapting. But the resources are close enough. Hera's going to see his opponents adding a barracks now. Hera's going to go stable. Hera's going to go blacksmith. Okay, so it is a fast castle from Hera into knights. And with Romans, maybe scorpions. But now Hera knows that his opponent won't have military for a little bit. So basically, he could just wait. And then he could pull the lumberjacks over here. Yep, and he sees these villas are exposed. Yeah, this is going to be rough for Villese. Hera basically gave no respect to the TC drop. He said, if you want to Vill War me, go ahead. I'm just going to fight you back. And now he's on his way to Castle Age. Food eco will be a little rough for him. But I think if he knows about the deer here, which he does, he should be able to afford enough knights to know, to go up against what Villese is doing here. Villese is going to take some hunt now. He's going to take some stone so he could maybe build some towers. And Hera just leaves. Villese is, I think, expecting archers because he saw the golds. But he doesn't know about the stable and the blacksmith. So he... Oh, guys, he's so paranoid. He's like, oh no, he's going to archer rush me. Hera's over here. Okay. Well, they shared berries. It's only fair that they share deer, right? They probably have an agreement. These two mills are touching. Which mill is the better mill, by the way? The Persian mill or the Roman mill? I don't see how the Roman mill is actually functional. I feel like maybe it's a bit lighter compared to the Persian mill. Persian mill feels more legit to me. And yeah, Skirmisher comes over and just immediately gets picked off. It really feels like Villese is just out of his, out of his league at the moment. And really, you can tell when a player kind of isn't there mentally. I think the lack of conviction to attack in the previous game was part of it for me. And here he tried something a little wacky. This is going to be rough. Hera's going to make a knight. Hera sees these villagers. There's villagers everywhere, right? Like, there's no shortage of exposed areas here for his opponent. Villager gets picked off there. This scout will probably need to be pulled away for Hera. But he's just trying to buy a little bit of time to get knights. And it is feudal age for Villese. It's not like Hera is all in either. Hera's got good economy here. He'll have the second TC. And this is like Hera with mobile units against a player who's in feudal. Probably not going to end too well here for Villese. Manhunter, thanks for the 2 months. Says just played a Diplo game. Nice. Hope it was a good time. Who won? History Wiz, thanks for the 25. Navy SEAL. Drac, welcome back. Sean, thanks for the 32. Says 32 months and still 0 Kami game wins. Well, you said it, Sean. Now everybody knows. Thank you, Coctopus, welcome back. Logo, Atis, Richie. First series was insane. This series had put some potential, I felt. Game number 1. I thought game number 2 once I saw the castle go down, but Villese didn't really have a lot of faith. I think Hera would have a massive lead even if he didn't kill these villagers, but he will kill the vills. And it didn't really work out for Villese. I mean... Again, I actually think this is a good map for TC dropping. He didn't get the proper amount of boars. He had like 2 boars versus 6. He then lost 2 vills. Like the thought process to vill rush is great, I think. But then he didn't have loom. And so that made matters worse. And he just lost 2 vills because he forgot loom. And when things are falling apart, it's pretty clear. And maybe for Villese now, he's probably just going to like wing it in the next game. We've got Koreans here for Hera. And we've got Villese with the Dravidians, and we have a very interesting shaped... Is this an H-shaped island? Excuse me? The guy is already up 3-0. And then the map is rigged into... Well, I guess it's like a capital I. But if you turn it to the side, It is also a very flat, bench-looking capital H, maybe. Certainly not a V here. So, ooh, Koreans for Hera. Interesting. I have memories of Hera going galleys with Koreans in Warlords 2. Warlords 2 was, what, a year ago now? I don't know, man. All the events run together. It's been a little bit. I have said I think the Feudal Age builds on the 9 Villager Start tournaments are a bit stronger here, so I think that galleys could be a play. We'll see if Villese chooses to do the same. I think the Dravidians are the better civ here. I think they're, if I had to give percentages, I would say it's like a 60-40. Maybe 55-45 for Dravidians. Just really fluid starts, man. And then when you make it to the next stage, getting the extra wood is just so smooth. I think the best map for Dravidians is actually Migration. I don't know if there's another map where they're really better. Because, like, on islands, for example, I would say Dravidians are strong. But I would say Armenians are probably, or like Vikings is maybe better than them. But Migration, I think Dravidians might be my #1 pick. Again, slight differences if it's 9 Villager or 3 Villager start, but... Hera goes for the fishing ships, no surprise. We'll see the exact same here for Villese. No real differences in how they're approaching it. Villese does send 2 Vills to the shorefish, which I think is a nice touch. You get that food in a little bit faster. Yeah, Alex, I agree. It feels like Migration is perfect for all the Dravidian bonuses. And then you don't really need Knights, for example, right? If anything, you're going to see players maybe go for Light Cav on the island, so... But I mentioned it before. In this tournament, the island is weird in the middle. It is awkward. There's not a lot of space to move around. It feels like it makes life so much more difficult on land. So in some ways, I think water is actually more important on this version of Migration than others. Players don't get to see this map or know what it is shaped like until they transport there as well, which changes things massively. Why are Dravidians better here? They have more bonuses. You have pop space from each house. You've fishing ship carry capacity. And then 200 extra wood when you make it to feudal, which is amazing when you're spending wood all the time for ships. 200 extra wood when you make it to castle. I feel like by then, you've taken advantage of enough bonuses that other civs don't have where you could have a nice little lead. So Villese, trying to decide on where to go here. This seems to me like he wants to go forward docks on Hera here. And I think that's really good against Koreans. Because Koreans, they can't make demos. So if the fire rush is basically in their face, it's easy to surprise them. Get some demos on the field. Now, the person who said easy. Again, they used the word easy. And I will admit, the last 2 games, it looked pretty easy. But the first game, it wasn't. Anyways, this thing we've talked about. Someone said easy 4-0 for Hera. That individual has left. So, I'm looking at this dock here. And there's probably going to be a second dock as well. Hera's going fast castle. There's fish right next to a whole lot of pressure. Just going to leave right now? You can't make statements like that and leave. What, do you have things to do? So a bit of a guessing game, I think, from Hera on what his opponent's doing. And now he sees the dock. All right, so Hera has to use all of his speed and all of his micro to micro each fishing ship that gets attacked very far away from here. And I think he also has to try to get villagers to the mainland without being spotted. Look at Villese, by the way. He is picking up water buffaloes in the transport ship and sending them back home, which is pretty next level stuff. Obviously, behind this, Villese doesn't have as many fishing ships, but he's adding more. And here he is attacking the first ship from Hera. But yeah, basically what you do if you're Hera is you hide your fishing ships, and you hope that when you make it to the next stage, you could stabilize by adding lots of fires. Sometimes you'll see players tower if they're in Villese's position to kind of protect that area. But there's no immediate benefit to a tower right now, so kind of how Villese is playing this, I think, is perfect. But, I mean, Hera split up his fish. He's got 5 fish here. He's got 6 fish, sorry, like 4 or 5 fish over here. And he will eventually be able to make it to Castle Age. But there's so many fires on the field right now for Villese. It feels like it's just a matter of time till he is able to find some fishing ship kills. But I think Villese is doing the right thing. You don't want to chase one fishing ship across the map. You, if anything, want to stay close to the docks. So Hera might micro this away. If he does that, you just go right here and sit on the dock. Because you want to... You don't want to spend your time chasing. And at the very least, you don't want the fishing ships to drop off the food, right? Hera will hop out with a fire eventually. But it's just going to be one fire here against 2 from Villese. And we're going to have our first death in the game. Come on! He's doing such a good job of keeping these alive. That's 1 HP! Villese got sick of chasing it. I'm actually so annoyed for him. Over here, fishing ships. Okay, have gone down. So Hera's fishing eco. Really not in a good spot. But, I mean, he will click up to Castle Age faster. There is that. Guys, if the roles were reversed, 95% of you would have said GG in my chat right now. That says a lot to Hera's strength, right? But this position is really bad for Hera. I think he assumed it would be fast castle. And kind of guessed incorrectly. The forward docks from his opponent are really picking him apart right now. So what you need if you're Hera... is you need the Castle Age to pay off for you in some way. So you need to get the War Galley upgrade. Then your ships will be superior. And then from there, you could start to fight back on water and get to the other side. Villese's microing here. Really sloppy micro here. Really sloppy micro. Oh, man. He lost 2 ships in the north. And then he lost like 3 ships over here, which is a bit brutal. But he's up the castle. Still has the forward docks. Still trying his best to keep this ship alive. Should be able to keep it alive, actually. Yeah, I would say Hera's main focus now needs to be either dealing with this or getting some pressure over to Villese's side. Water Buffalo still being ferried across from Villese. So 3 fishing ships for Hera. No villagers on the mainland. We've got 8 fishing ships for Villese. And he's got villagers on the mainland. They're currently repairing ships. Hera's going to be up here in a second. Hera's micro's definitely been better than Villese's once he got to the numbers here. And that demo's going to chase Hera down. And it's going to kill at least 1 ship. And... oh, it kills 2 of them. That's huge. Guys, the person who said easy 4-0, who we were making jokes about, just conveniently left right now? Listen, let's be honest. Hera's probably going to win this series. We don't have a lot to fight for. But, like, you can't just leave. You bullied him? No. He said he had somewhere to be, which is fair. But let's give Villese some respect here. Down 3-0, didn't just phone it in. Came with a really solid strategy. Is playing like a maniac right now. And I mean, we got Hera making a turtle ship. Hype. But I don't know if he's going to really have the firepower to push this back before the upgrades come in here for Villese. Hera has to respect the docks. He knows there could be a demo in there, and now we have the War Galley upgrade on the way for Villese. Something we missed. Hera came over here with the fire that did get sniped. Hera is going to send a fire this way. This fire can change things. If that fire ship can kill those fishing ships, it could be really good for him. And Hera, still some weak ships here. Ooh, repairs coming in. Hera doesn't want to get too close because he knows a demo could pop out at any moment. The demo is going to be from the dock on the left here. Demo lands. It's a good demo there for Villese. Hera still no TC, no plans even for a TC on the mainland here, which is the big part about this map. But he's defending his fish. Or, sorry, he's defending his water. He doesn't really have fish. Kills that Vill, and we got a chonker on the way! Let's go! Uh-oh. Hera. pressuring over here with some fires. This fire as well. Catch a glimpse of that fire. Villese notices, though. And Villese also defending here perfectly. It seems like now Villese is starting to lose these docks in the front and might not be able to accomplish a lot there. But he does defend here on both sides, which I think is the key to keep his fishing ships alive. Turtle ship. Exciting, but expensive. And Hera's going to find it difficult now if he doesn't get villagers to the mainland. And here he goes. Okay. Turning into a really nice game. Again, I have to applaud Hera for his consistency, even when things go wrong for him. But food is a real concern for him right now. Now, if he clears up everything, he could consider, going for fish. But there's always a risk his opponent could kill his fish, so... I think what Hera needs now is he needs to kill fishy ships for Villese and then just start to focus on the land boom. And that's what he's going to do. Villese with more vills. Does he have his scout around? Yeah, he scouted over here, but he doesn't know Hera's there. And he will drop a TC here as well. A little late to getting those vills over there. Still trying his best to keep his fish alive, but Hera's on both sides. Hera... finding really solid engagements. And honestly, at this point, this does start to transition a little bit more towards the land boom. So, that's something that Hera tends to be quite good at. Your fishing economy is not great. You just don't want your opponent to be able to freely fish. And Hera has prevented Villese from having it the easiest time there. So this is something that you look to for differences of players. It's like a relatively even game. Are they farming? Villese is taking the water buffaloes, which is always good. Don't have any concerns with that. He does see Hera's scout here, so he must know Hera's around. And he's going to snag that relic, and he knows Hera's got a TC there now. So good knowledge for Villese. Score is even. Game pretty even. Turtle Boy is on the way. He'll be there when he'll get there when he gets there. Don't rush him, okay? He'll make it in all of his majesty in about 3 hours. But when he makes it, it's going to be at the most opportune time. Les has a Civ with cheap siege. I mean, you see a TC. It feels like a good position to maybe go for a siege push. Thing is, though, Hera is Koreans. So being Koreans... he can always just plop some villagers on the stone and go for a guard tower. Oh, he ready. Oh, Lord, he coming. Oh, he's being microed. Oh, can't get him. Can't stop him. Hera's farming eco is insane. Just like 13 farms at home, just like that. And there's no farms from Villese. Villese really needs to keep an eye on that, man. Because this will oftentimes lead to Imperial Age, right? And Koreans have really solid navy to compete with the Dravidians. Forward turtle! Hera's other turtle is going to get here by the time it took him to build a dock and just make a new turtle ship. It's not even worth sending them across the map. It's just... you just make a new dock. Alright. Here's the siege. Hera lost that Vill. I think Hera knows about that, though. He just saw the siege. He was reacting to it. Oof. Losing Vills, though. Still no loom. Hera's looking at his turtles. He's dominating with these turtles. Look, let's go. But he's getting siege pushed, and he needs a tower. The siege could only get worse for him. Villese killed some of Hera's fish as well. I don't know. Hera's only has one now. He had 3 at one point. No, don't demo the turtles. Demo the fires there, Villese. Really tricky for him to know that the HP was low there. Okay, this is going to come down to a castle drop in this position. I guarantee it, okay? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Mangonel. Mangonel is exposed. Is exposed. Oh! Oh, no, Villese! No! 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 Disaster! Oh, he had such a good position here. And he just was so distracted by the chonky boys. The turtles went down, but they went down for a reason. The best application for a turtle ship is just a big old distraction. Okay, here we go. Eric should absolutely drop a castle now. He might not want to drop it forward because the siege workshop, but usually the play right now is castle and Imperial Age. 1-to-1 for the mangonels here. Another one on the way right now for Villese. Villese did expand that farming eco, right? So he timed that nicely. He still has 8 fishing ships. He's collected more resources than Hera, and there's Hera's castle. I think if you see that, you actually want a castle exactly where your outpost is if you're Villese. I think you delete your outpost, you place the castle on the hill, and you go up to the Imperial Age. And then you win this game with Trebs. That's what this turns into. Huh! Hera loses his siege. That's a big problem. Hera might need a tower on this town center now. And Hera is going to click Imp. He's on his way to the Imperial Age. But both of his TCs are rangeable now by siege. Villese, my friend, please get Loom. Guys, if he doesn't get Loom... Oh my god. Please research Loom when you build this castle. Hera doesn't have any more siege yet. Hera's trying to fight back on water with fires. All great stuff for him. I'm very invested in this castle position. You want your castle to be on the hill. Yeah, delete the outpost. Delete the outpost. Delete the outpost. Build an even bigger outpost. If you don't place the castle on the hill, I'm going to scream. Okay, that's fine. Oh, God. He almost lost it to the castle from Hera. Oh, Hera. Oh, God. Oh, God. Guys, I'm invested in more games here, all right? As a content creator, I have not created enough content. Feels weird to say I created anything. A content watcher. Here we go. Here's some content. Let's go, baby. Yeah. And Hera just towers it. He says, I'm not letting you get that relic. You got to fight your way through a tower. Hera will be in Imperial Age 10 seconds after his opponent. But he does have enough stone for a second castle now. And things get interesting here. Guys, such a sick job from Hera to stay in this game. Hera, I'm complimenting you. Hera, I'm complimenting you. Hera, I'm complimenting you. TCs don't hit anything. They said they fixed it. What is this? Hera, I'm saying good things about you. Okay, anyways, before that moment, Hera has done an impeccable job. Like, the fast castle was so risky. The fact that this becomes an imp war is wild to me. But Villese has the better position. At least in my opinion. Now, this could be an issue. But Villese can use water dominance with fast fire, and Villese can make the trebs before Hera can. Hera's going to need bombard cannons to bail himself out of this one. Chemistry is on the way to unlock that, but that's the same for Villese. So both players thinking the same thing. Hera's stone income has just run dry. Whereas Villese is still able to take stone. He's just now switching over to the other pile there. So it feels like Hera doesn't really have the navy numbers yet. He's working his way towards that. And he doesn't have the edge long term when it comes to stone control. But that could easily change. And also, if this goes unchecked, this could become a real problem if Hera gets enough towers over here. Hera is stuck. I've seen that before, though, where he gets stuck on this map and he's able to find his way out. It's bombard cannons that's the key. Bombard cannons in combination with trebs. He's got one on the way. Villese is going to have 2 on the way. Hera will run out of stone, meaning he has to buy the stone to repair the castle for longer. He'll do that, but how long can you really do that? Over here, Hera winning some fights, but the land feels more important than anything. Hera still buying stone. That castle being on the hill was so helpful here for Villese. Castle down for Hera. Bombard cannon about to hop out. Huh. Hera gets some hits. Both players with cannons now. Trebs are firing onto that bombard cannon right now. This is crazy. They're firing on the cannon. They're firing on the Treb. Hera loses one of his Trebs. Villese still microing and making cannons. Villese will take another one of Hera's Trebs and micro again. His castle's still being repaired. He still has stone income. Hera with the snipe. But this is looking so tough for Hera now. Like, he just doesn't have the cannon numbers. He can't take the castles. So now it's Trebs and bombard cannons. I think Villese just needs to use the Trebs on the cannons, honestly. Like, have an extra threat here for Hera in some way. Otherwise, you're just going to lose the Trebs. They don't really give you anything in return. It's just going to be bombard cannon micro. Treb. Donk. What? Hera keeps that cannon alive somehow. Looked like it was a direct shot, but Hera, no! Oh, he loses a bombard cannon to the castle fire. There's still fires out, by the way. They have to worry about that still as well. But, like, this is clearly the most important area of the map right now. You make a mistake here, it could be game over. Oh, man, Hera loses a cannon. Hera almost loses another cannon. The War Wagons are actually doing an epic job here. Treb goes down for Villese. Remember, Hera, no stone. Cannot repair his castles for very long. And we've got a cannon galleon. That's an epic play from Villese. Hera has to deal with that somehow. Also, Hera did tower a bunch over here. And is going to drop a TC. I mean, he's not completely trapped. Oh, man. Dodgeball micro continues. Villese, good attack rounds. Yurumi swordsmen are now being sent into the farming eco. War wagons, though. Can't forget about these. God, this is so intense. Like, I would have lost this game 17 different ways if I were Villese. Like, there's so much multitasking. They still got navy. They still got, like, towers going up. Like, we're looking at the main fight here, but this is incredible. But, you know, it feels like if Hera loses this castle, he can't protect any of this. And the random Yurumis running into his eco, really causing him some problems right now. I don't know. Like, these war wagons, though, really feel like they have paid off for Hera. It's so annoying for Villese. Just constantly having to repair. He's going to make some skirms now, so that should put an end to the war wagons. And he does have a Trebs coming out here to take out Hera's towers. What a fighter Villese is. What a fighter Hera is. Hera sniped to the bombard cannon. Or, sorry, the cannon galleon. But finally calls the GG, I think, because he just realizes he's getting range too much here on his island. He's having too many problems with the Yurumis. And he just hasn't been able to expand. So, like, game 2, I was a little critical of Villese because I felt like he went for a build to apply pressure to Hera. And he didn't apply pressure. He just kind of sat there. This game, he applied pressure to Hera. And Hera still was, you know, took him very late into the game. But he kept his advantages from that pressure, and he worked his way up throughout the game. This is the Villese that we knew was there. And he finally gets a win off of Hera. Needs 3 more wins in a row, though, to move out of the round of 16. That's going to be tough. Hera loses, but he still played incredible here. And he's going to have his home maps, but nice job from Villese there to get the win. Again, I got to respect it. You know, you lose 3 games. Some of the games didn't look too hot. You know, I'm sure he's probably not feeling comfortable himself. And so to still come in here and perform that way is a sign of a true competitor. GG, well played. Resources collected here. I think a lot of this stems from the fishing situation, the wood, food, and TC timings. Villese controlling more of the fish, thus having more food. Getting the TCs down faster, thus having a little bit more wood. Stone and gold, obviously, kind of just comes back to how many villagers you have and whatnot, but it's really well played from Villese to realize Hera was on the left side and kind of stop him from expanding with the castle spot and the Imperial Age timing. But, like, you know, if the Treb timing doesn't work, sorry, like, if you just go Trebs there, you lose. because you also need bombard cannons. If you don't add skirms, you might lose because the wagons snipe the bombard cannons. If you don't also have navy, you might lose because Hera's going to come back on navy. Like, Villese had to do like 4 or 5 different things there and do it perfectly. Same. All right, we've got Portuguese for Hera here on his home map, Arabia. And we've got Villese playing here as the Hindustanis. I think both of these civilizations are pretty strong for Arabia. Hindustanis are a little bit more matchup oriented. Usually the Hindustanis are going to want to play up against a civilization that relies on stable units. What gets tricky here is that the Portuguese don't really fall into that category. Now they can, and I think we will actually see some knights here from Hera. But if I had to guess, it would be a combination of like knights and archers. Portuguese may be the civilization to go double gold comp in Castle Age. So because their gold units are so cheap, you can justify going for a combination of crossbow and knights. Or maybe you could go for like knights and maybe you go for knights and monks against camels. Map's pretty open. Gold is a nightmarish situation for Villese. It's not great for Hera either. I think I prefer Hera's map, but just, well, I take it back. Hera's wood situation could actually be really tough here. All right, let's play a game. I like to play this game on Arabia in 2024. Let's play a game called Will the Players Scout Their Opponent Before Feudal Age? I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Villese will. And Hera... I mean, they both got 1 ostrich left. Oof, it's a tough game. I'm going to lean towards yes. But usually they're not going to do so before pushing in all their deer. At this point, the high-level players, they just kind of guess their opponent's opening based on their civs and go from there. Any Dark Age shenanigans is pretty much out of meta at this point, so there's not a lot of reason to really scout until later on anyways, so... 18 pop for Villese, and then he actually queues up Loom afterwards. And Hera is going to go no Loom as well, off of 20 pop. So Hera's actually going to be a bit slower here. Delibart, thanks for the new Prime. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, somebody wanted to see a fast castle from Hera. I don't know if I've ever seen Hera in a serious game go fast castle on Arabia. I think the serious game is the key word there, right? He kind of went fast castle in the Alpine game because his TC got shot down and it felt natural. But I don't know if it was a predetermined plan. Someone says they're buffering and it's probably on their end. I think it's probably on your end. I would recommend maybe changing the quality options to auto. I'm not dropping frames and I haven't heard many other people mention it, so. No Loom. Hera's got to be careful here. Villese notices there's no Loom. Villese drops the stable, and this is going to be scouts. I mean, Hindustani scouts are really solid. And Villese is really clean for Arabia. I'm really surprised that Hera clicked up so late. Like, this feels like could have easily gone up so much faster. It's a little uncommon for him to be up so late in these situations. It's not going to be bad, per se, as long as he understands his opponent will have a couple scouts on the field soon. But definitely a bit more of a relaxed approach here, I would say, with his builds. 4 on berries here, maybe the most exposed area for Villese. He's planning on somewhat of a full wall. I feel like there might be a hole between those houses. A couple spearmen out from Hera. Both players will be snagging horse collar and adding farms here. And Hera will probably also slowly full wall. But Villese here with 2 scouts. He's going to see the spearmen, though. You're basically, because of how smooth Hera's playing in defense, you basically need to wait till you get to that scout number where you could pick off the individual spears. And that would be 4. The farms are going to be coming down for Villese. And Villese needs to make sure he adds spears now. When you're the aggressor, sometimes you feel like you don't have to. Hera pulled the Vill away. That Hera's coming forward with some aggression here, and this is where Villese would need spears. Still only 1. But queuing up a second one could be a control group issue. Yeah, he noticed right at the last second there. Hera, I mean, it felt like it was going to be a 4-0 based on how game 2 and game number 3 went. Game number 1 was really competitive until it wasn't. But Villese, I mean, he's playing really good, man. Like, his reactions are maybe a little slower than Hera's, though. You could tell. Like, maybe some fatigue is setting in. But the belief is there. First kill of the game happens. Hera's going to go double range and is shifted on the goal already. Wow, Hera is really lacking the farms right now, so he's not going to be able to produce more scouts for a while. Fletching might even be delayed. But look at the value Hera's able to get. Oh, man. He kills a villager on the left side with the scout, and he kills a villager on the right side with scouts. He's up 2 vills now. He's just kind of dancing around Villese right now. And meanwhile, Villese hasn't done any damage to Hera. Just crazy value. And this is why this is the first home map Hera plays, right? He's the best Arabia player. These types of maps suit his skill set. We might see Villese die for this. Like, even if you lose the scout, you feel like you need to kill a Vill now. Yeah. Actually didn't lose the scouts there either. Ooh, and Hera also lost a scout here. Villese didn't catch... No, he did catch the range, but I don't think he's aware of just how many archers are going to be out. I don't think he understands it's going to be 2 range. Oh, God. Villese loses 2 more scouts. Honestly, I have really high standards for Villese. It's been a bit of a sloppy Arabia game. Hera's played as clean as you would expect. But, you know, Hera's made Villese work for it, right? It's what you have to bring it back to. When someone's being this aggressive against you, when someone's up against you in the series, really difficult to get the timings right. Hera's going to have scouts and archers. Archers being produced from 2 ranges as well. But no fletching yet for Hera. Like, with fletching, Hera would probably destroy this fight. Yeah, I think holding to the hill is a smart move. Love watching AoE2 is asking about the next series. We had a 4-hour banger to start the day. So I'd recommend watching the VOD if you didn't catch that. This is the last series of the day. There's 2 sets basically every day for the next 7 days. So that's the plan. I'll go over the schedule when this series ends. Oh man, fletching is not on the way yet for Villese. Oh no, he has it. Sorry. So just gets fletching in time. But the margins are really slim right now. Like, one bad fight for either player, and this game turns around in Castle Age, or even late feudal. I love how Hera just continues to pile on scouts, and now he says, you know what, I'm walled enough now. Like, we control this game with military. He basically feels as though he doesn't have the full wall at the moment. But not walling could be an issue. Archers and scouts getting picked off here. And Villese has defended really nicely. He's still got spears here, so Hera needs to be careful. And Villese is walled for the most part. Has an army which could kill Hera's army depending on the micro. Hera's just going to be desperate to kill any spearmen here. Look at that micro. That's sick. Whoop! You go forward with the spears and you pull the spearmen back, basically. Whoop! It's so good. But it always feels like Scout Archer is the superior force. The Skirm Spear player is one bad fight away from everything getting cleared up. And these spears are so weak at the moment. Spears are just getting picked off. Hera just figures, yeah, you might as well take the fight. That spear is going to get picked as well. I think this is actually a decent trade for Villese, though. Villese, I mean, these Skirms will have to fall back towards a new spearman, but he killed most of that attack there. And he doesn't lose the rest of the Skirms. That was sick. God, that is so hard. Like, micro in those scenarios is ridiculous. Villese's got an opportunity to kill more archers here. Maybe not. He actually doesn't have much army, but he's got an opportunity to take this to Castle Age, and who knows what he'll do from there. But Hera, still, a few more scouts on the field and more archers being produced. I think this trend has changed a little bit. I know a lot of players go spear skirm, but I still feel like, and I feel like the best players always are able to just take advantage of scout archer a lot more. And usually have a better castle age time as well, because only one of their units costs food. Hera knew the spearman would go back at some point. Hera picks that off. Hera's on the way to castle age. And remember, we talked about the comp that Portuguese want. And especially since you've cleared out the skirms now, I think you can go crossbows, and you can mix it up with knights, and there's no easy counter to that. Camel civs struggle there, because if it's just knights, boom, they've got the camels, right? But the second there's crossbows in the mix, the crossbows can't really, or the camels can't really do too much. Les is going to try. He has to hold for 2 minutes. I honestly think you just have to tower this, though. And he chooses to just tap out and call the GG. And to be completely honest, like, while we didn't see Castle Age come in yet, Hera's going to break through here eventually. Even if the tower comes down, Hera will be in Castle Age a minute or so faster. And it really did look like Hera was just the better player in most of these games. I think for Villese, you look back to game number 1, that could have been a win. He had a lead against Hera there. Hera was able to boom back into the game. That game could have been a win for Villese. Game 2, game 3, you could forget about. Game 4 was then a win. Maybe you'll lose this one. And then suddenly you have a home map choice to tie it up, 3-3. Like, that's kind of how you have to break down the series. So, I don't see a way with basically no army that Villese wins this game. I know some people will call it an early GG, but Hera gets the win, as everyone expected, I think. But a respectable performance from Villese, considering he's been less active on the game, and Hera's seen as the best player right now. So, I do want to pull up the brackets, actually, and look through, because I'm kind of curious where Hera moves on next, and also the winner of the first series. But, yeah, Hera just did such a good job controlling his eco there. And his initial armies. Killing the 2 villagers, keeping his scouts alive, while Villese lost a lot of his scouts and didn't kill many vills, was a big difference in early day, or early game.